When we last left our heroes, they'd just had an encounter with the Deck of Many Things, which had made them extremely rich, but also led to a member of the party dying. Now they'd arrived at Silverwick, the capital city of the island, and Tenebris had just found the dead body of someone that his soul was linked to, hanging from the gallows on the ground floor of the city. She was long gone by this point, and there was nothing he could do. Tenebris followed the party up 8 stories above the ground to a tavern they found called the Reef Claw. The party looked around and saw that in the center of the tavern was a small patch of sand, with a live Reef Claw sitting inside, seeming to be the mascot for the place. "I would like 3 tickets for your signature drink, please." The bartender quickly handed each member of the party a mug of a reddish drink that tasted like ale with a hint of venom, having apparently been created from the Reef Claw's venom itself, but modified to remove the damage effect. "So, what should we do now?" Before anyone had a chance to respond, the door to the Reef Claw slammed open, and stepping into the tavern was a man in black swashbuckler clothes and an overly fancy hat. Slung over his shoulder was an ornate crossbow, and he immediately began shouting.
"I am looking for assistance."
"What exactly do you want assistance with?"
"I'm hunting for an extremely dangerous beast known as the Lurker. Rumor says that it's the size of a small house, but that shouldn't be an issue for someone as amazing as myself, as well as whoever might be joining me."
"We're in. Are you leaving now?"
"Of course not. We'll set out tomorrow afternoon. There's still a long night of drinking ahead of us. The name's Lord Irakas The Great."
"Perfect. I can introduce you to the rest of the party. Right this way, Lord Irakas."
The Great.
"What?"
"I am Lord Irakas The Great. That is my title, and I have bribed a great deal of people in order for it to be so. Also, I'm paying you. So, please, if you have any shred of decency behind those vapid eyes of yours, you'll address me as The Great. Are we clear? Excellent."
The party and Lord Irakas the Great began drinking and trading stories with each other about the adventures they've been on. After listening to Lord Irakas the Great explain the plot of Curse of the Black Pearl to them, Edith bought the strongest drink at the tavern. It was a shot of concentrated Reef Claw venom, and after drinking it she failed her fortitude save and was immediately very, very intoxicated. "I have a tale. Well, one time I heard this voice, and it told me to go to a village, and I went to the village, and I acted as their herb woman for several years, and you see, the voice did not explain why it wanted me to be there. Well, until he ordered me to kill them all, and I did, and then he called me to the island." Edith then passed out on the floor in front of everyone. Should we be worried about that? The party went to sleep, and in the morning they realized that they still had a few hours of time before they were supposed to meet up with Lord Irakas the Great to go on the hunt. So naturally they did the smart thing and split up so they could all go on their own adventures, because that always goes well. Edith just wandered around the city, taking in the sights and hoping to find anything interesting, when she found a small plaza with a massive adamantine statue in the center. The statue depicted a halfling in a dark cloak with a crown on top of his head, and in his hand was a bloody dagger. She immediately recognized that this was a statue of the same person that she'd seen in her dream of the mansion a few nights ago. Now that she knew that this was important, she went up to the statue to try to find out any other information that she could find, and she noticed that there was a plaque at the bottom of the statue that said that it was Merlos, the Thief Lord of Venzor. Well, he sounds like a nice person. Now that she had a starting point, she traveled to the Silverwick library to find out more information, and when she arrived, she immediately ran into Tenebris. "Oh hey Tenebris, what are you doing here?" "Well, I was hoping to find out any information about the Watcher, but it's been a dead end so far. I only found one creature that has any ability similar to what we saw, but it can't possibly be accurate." "Well, what creature is it?" "According to Falzafir's Book of Eldritch Abominations, unicorns are rumored to have the ability to loop small periods of time repeatedly and choose which one ends up being canon. However, the Watcher didn't look anything like a unicorn to me, so that's not much of a help. Well, would you like to help me out? I'm looking for information about somebody named Merlos. He was apparently the Thief Lord of Venzor or something like that. I found a statue of him and he looked neat. While Tenebris and Edith were relaxing and spending their morning researching Merlos, Jay was having a much more chaotic solo adventure. It started off simple enough, where he was planning on asking around at the local taverns if anyone had seen a Tengu named Emra Scarfeathers, but on the way he was interrupted. A teenager bumped into him and walked away, but after a second Jay realized the magic dagger Edith had given him was gone. Jay immediately spun around and saw that the thief had stolen the dagger and was fleeing down the street. However, Jay was able to catch up to him without much effort. Give it back. Give what back? Jay stared down the thief, and after reconsidering for a moment, he eventually gave the dagger to Jay. Look, I didn't want to rob you personally, okay? Did somebody else want you to? No. Alright, listen here, kid. Now you better tell me who asked you to rob me or things won't go the best for you. However, if you just tell me, then you can walk away and nobody has to get hurt. Okay, but you didn't hear it from me. There's this guy. He looks almost like a butler, like the ones that the nobles up top have. I'm supposed to meet with him in an alley 4 stories up from the Merlos statue at noon to give him the dagger. Seeing that there was only a couple minutes until the meeting time, Jay left the thief and made his way to the alleyway. Standing near the edge, looking bored, was a middle-aged bald human with a stopwatch in his hand. Jay snuck up to him and drew the dagger. Are you looking for this? You don't look like the guy that I hired. Oh. No, that's not the dagger that I'm looking for, and I resent the accusation. Look, how about you just tell me why you want my dagger, and in exchange I don't throw you off the side. I didn't want it taken from you, so please don't hurt me. Alright, her name is Sulcira. I work for her. She's a member of the Thief Lord's court. And why would she want to take it from me? I don't know, I'm just the middleman. So she just wants the dagger and nothing else? Correct. She just wanted me to come down here and have someone steal the dagger from you, and apparently the person I hired wasn't very good at this job. Did she say what would happen if you weren't able to get it? No, but I believe that I'm going to move to Amberwood now instead of finding out the answer to that question. Fair enough, and I'll leave you to yourself, but don't try any more funny business. I did not laugh once. Jay left to go find the rest of his friends, and when he met them in the library, they quickly caught him up on what they learned. According to their findings, the first time Merlos showed up in the history books was a few hundred years ago, when he stole a magic item known as Justice from a powerful noble. At some point after that, Merlos arrived on the island, and he quickly united the individual towns and cities into one kingdom, and he declared himself the Thief Lord of Venzor. He continued ruling for decades. However, one day, out of nowhere, he just vanished without a trace. It's rumored that he built a mansion somewhere before his death, and that he had hidden his treasure hoard somewhere inside. In the time since his disappearance, his descendants have formed what is known as the Thief Lord's Court, a group of people that claim to be ruling the island, but they mostly are distracted arguing with each other and having internal conflicts instead of actually doing anything. At the beginning of the court, they collectively decided that if any of them were able to find Merlos' crown, then that person would become the new Thief Lord of Venzor. And so the court has spent most of the past few centuries hunting for that, but no one has ever been able to find it. However, the party's time for exploring the city was over for now, because the party met up with Lord Irakas The Great and traveled out into the woods once more, ready to hunt the creature known as the Lurker.